Ninth meeting of the Grosse Ile Township Public Service Commission. Going to call the meeting to order, and we'll start the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
With that, we'll call the roll. Costick, present. Kennedy?
Here.
Schmidtke?
Present.
Pedestris, Lenny Pedestris will try to get here. He's going to be a little late. Ray Biddle?
Here.
Linda Stanko?
Here.
And Kevin Flavin.
Here.
So we have a quorum. The first item is our agenda. I'm going to ask I'll make a motion to approve tonight's agenda and see if there are any additions or deletions anybody suggests. Can I have a motion? I made a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
So
Second.
Phil has seconded it. Hearing, is there any discussion on it? If not, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The agenda is approved. There's no public in the audience tonight, so we will just move on from that. We have the minutes of our August 12th meeting. You've all had a chance to look at those. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of August 12th. Can I have support?
Support.
Were you here, Linda?
No, I wasn't.
Can't-
I can't do
you
it.
can't.
I'll
You're right.
support.
Biddle supports. And I will start with one comment that I have on page 5. Derek, can you look up page 5?
Yes, sir.
Towards the bottom of the page, there's a, under the manager's report, it says that Thiel provided a summary of the project update document. And he does that every meeting, but it was the one provided by Raines Engineering. So I think you should add there, provided by Raines Engineering, as provided by Raines Engineering. You okay with that, everybody?
Yep.
And then there's a comment below that under water loss report that says Thiel, and then it just lists 24.119%. So I think we should just delete that, but we can either delete it or have an explanation. But I'm comfortable, we don't normally get into that. I'm comfortable with just deleting it. Is there objection to deleting it?
No. No.
No? Kevin? Okay. So with those two, are there other items in the minutes that anybody has? I hear silence. All in favor of approval of the minutes indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The minutes are approved with those changes. Next item are approval of bills. Those start on page 7. Everybody's had a chance to look at the statement of bills for our water, sewer systems, refuse, and the wastewater plant. Are there any questions?
Down here. Nope. No.
Nobody has any questions? I'll entertain a motion to approve the bills as submitted for the month of August. Kevin, you want to make a motion? You're the treasurer.
I make a motion to pay the bills.
Okay.
Support.
We're approving the bills, so the moved and supported that we approve the bills. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The bills are approved. Next item, we have a statement of our revenues and expenditures. This is just a report that we can receive and file unless there's any questions. So we're in the 5th month of the fiscal year. I took a look at this. My own opinion, everything looks pretty normal. Anybody see anything that stands out?
I have not.
Hearing none, no comments, we'll just receive and file the report on the statement of revenues and expenditures. And on page 15, we have the treasurer's report. It's a 2-page report. I'll make a motion to approve the treasurer's report. Can I have support?
Support.
Kennedy supported. The only comment I have, Derek, on page 2 of the report, it still shows that our fund balance in the road improvement fund still has a 1,000,006. So that is a figure that hasn't been transferred over yet to make payments for the work that's going on.
Yeah, I don't think we've received any invoices for the asphalt work or the concrete work we're doing right now. We just had a project closeout invoice to AIS for, I think, 215,000 that we'll be utilizing that account. Then that'll close that project out, and that was for Ferry
That
Road.
was from last year.
Correct, yep.
All right, well, so we are behind in our road program this year because of the bridge situation, closing of the county bridge and so forth, so.
Yeah, but not significantly. I mean, concrete started maybe a month and a half later than we would have liked, and asphalt it's a pretty quick program. We've only probably got about 2 weeks worth of work, so although we would have liked to have done it earlier, it still get done in time, so.
Okay. So, we have to vote on that. We have a motion to approve the treasurer's report. Is there, did we get a motion in support for that?
Yes, motion Costick, Kennedy, support.
With that, if there are no other questions, but I'll indicate,
Well, I have a question. What's the MBIA?
It's the investment account class.
Okay.
Okay, so Michigan, Kevin might be able to give the acronym, but I think it's Michigan Business Class Investment Pool,
Okay.
so.
good question though, Lance. So, with that, all in favor of approving the treasurer's report for the month of August, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The treasurer's report's approved as distributed. Right along. Next item is a memo from our township manager. Based on the recommendation of the Grosse Ile Township engineers, the Grosse Ile Township Public Service Commission hereby recommends to the Township Board the extension of a contract with Al's Asphalt for crack and joint sealing for the 2025 construction season. We did budget for this, and every year we try to tie in. There were several communities involved, and I'll just list them and then turn it over. So we bid this project along with the cities of Flat Rock, Riverview, Gibraltar, Allen Park, and Grosse Ile. The low bidder was Al's Asphalt. You have a copy of the several bids that were received. I think there were 6 bids received for this work. Derek, I'll let you take over from here.
As you had mentioned, we have $70,000 that we had budgeted for this fiscal year. The communities that were part of the original bid, cooperative bid in 2023, have been extended the same pricing from 2023 by the low bidder, Al's. So my understanding is the original communities that were part of this bid package or cooperative bidding are planning on extending the contract to Al's because of the savings associated with that. So I had asked Raines to write a letter of recommendation regarding that if they felt that that was based upon the current market, a wise financial decision, and that's where that memo has been drafted and included in the packet. So with that, you're being asked to recommend an extension of those 2023 contract prices to perform crack and joint sealing for this remainder of construction season 2025 using that $70,000 that we have available. And my understanding is all the original communities have identified, the value in this and are extending as well. So,
Okay, so to the commission, have any questions about this? Phil?
Yeah, I'm just curious. I noticed, the number of cities, Al's Asphalt was lower for all of them. So will he be getting the contract for everybody? Or do we know that?
yes, he would be. Yep. So
Does he give a further discount since he's
He's already the low bidder.
the low bidder?
So when we collaboratively bid this project, the communities do it together because we can split the bidding cost, but also we can leverage the quantities to get better pricing across all bidders. So
I guess just my question is, do the different contractors, are they aware that this is going to be awarded to all the cities, or could two or three of them decide they're going with a different vendor?
I mean, any city could choose to go with a different vendor if they chose to do that, yeah. Yes. I'm not sure why they would. I mean, you'd be leaving money on the table unless there were some performance issues or something like that, but,
Well, I think that each city, community submitted a quantity, an estimated quantity that was bid. So they all know that they were bidding on quantities for all those communities.
Okay, got it then. Understand.
And this saves us a little money. And so extension of the
So
price,
it being quantities, there wouldn't, the bidders would be higher for all the cities or lower for all the cities. Got it, understood.
and as far as where we do it this year, or like last year, we rely on John Keim and Derek they know the roads better than any of us, what people are complaining about, roads that are breaking up, so they.
The advantage is that we're putting the bid out at the same time, all the cities.
Right.
Okay, understood.
and we also do drive the roads with the engineer and the contractor too. So, because there are certain roads that might be too far gone where crack sealing doesn't make sense or joint sealing doesn't make sense. So we'll review those areas with the contractor to make sure that it makes good sense to perform this work. So, because there's a breaking point when crack sealing is no longer an efficient preventative maintenance method, and the road really just needs to be replaced, so.
Okay, are there other questions? Everybody's pretty silent, okay. Again, I have to ask, we have a motion to approve this?
You do not, I don't have a motion maker.
Would somebody like to make a motion to approve this?
I support it. I'll make a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the award of the contract for the joint sealing.
Second.
And Kevin has seconded it. No further discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The motion's approved. Next item on our agenda is approval of the maintenance cap allocation with our contractor Veolia at the wastewater treatment plant. And Ryan is here to answer any questions. So this is something we do every year. And I'm going to let Derek, turn this over to Derek. So, Derek?
In the contract with Veolia, there is $40,000 of maintenance expense that's built into our annual expense, or annual cost that we pay on a monthly basis. Anything above and beyond that $40,000 allocation within the contract is billed back to the township, and it's done once a year. So Veolia, through Ryan, comes to the meeting, presents their list of charges for services or for maintenance cost, and then we have a budget line item within our annual budget to address that expense. So all of this is mandated in our contract with Veolia. Generally, these expenditures are things that come across throughout the operation of the plant on an annual basis, or are emergency expenditures that they incur to ensure that the facility, stays in operation. So what you received in your packet is a list of all those expenditures throughout the year. And Ryan's here, obviously, he can explain if you have any specific questions about those expenditures or any individual expenditure. But the request always comes to the commission for approval before we go ahead and issue the reimbursement for those expenses. The total for the year, for the 12 months, was $121,535.10. 40 less for the $40,000, which is built into the contract. So the total is $81,535.10, which is about $14,000 less than what is budgeted for the year. $13,000 less than what was budgeted for the year.
And most of these expenses also include the lift stations that we have on the island that they're responsible for. And we have several expensive repairs that were emergency type repairs that were necessary at the lift stations. So with that, I'll open it up for questions from the commission. There's 10 pages of backup listing all these expenses and what they were for. So are there any questions?
Yeah, I got a couple. I mean, very detailed, so thank you for that. Going back over a year ago, April 2024, about 3/4 of the way down, $1,100 for installing a pressure gauge. Does that ring a bell? April 2024, 1172.86. It seemed a little high for me, being in the business of pressure gauges. Replacing a pressure gauge. There had been more to it than that.
We were having an issue with the sludge pump on level 1 that we just had replaced. And we were having issues with pressures in the pipe that we wanted to ensure that we bought the larger pump, or the large enough pump. We were actually testing the pressure in the line with our old pump, making sure that the new pump that we bought would have enough PSI to actually pump it all the way upstairs at the highest level. So this was sort of like a test to figure out which of those pumps we were going to buy, the CPEX pumps, and we ultimately went with the larger one because we found that the pressures up there were higher than what the smaller pump would do. And we did have Monroe Heating and Plumbing installed that, and I mean, I'd have to look.
Well, they're probably out there for a few hours, not only the cost of the pressure gauge, but they're probably out there for a few hours.
Yeah, they had to tap the pipe. They had to, this pressure gauge was maybe $600, so it was like a, not one that you would just buy at
Home Depot.
Ranger's, maybe
Yeah.
even. It was
Yeah.
more like a sturdier one, which
Okay.
would read right. So that's why, and there was probably 8 hours of labor, like, with all that.
Okay, well, that's fair. No,
That's why that was 1,100. Yeah, so
Okay.
that's what that was.
all right.
But it was worth it because we went with the larger pump, which, you know, if we undersize that pump and we, you know, it was too small, then we'd have major problems. So that's
Okay, that's
that's
fair.
what that one was. Yep.
Second last question is June 2024. Cummins, replacing the generator exhaust pipe. That one stood out to me.
Yeah. For the EQ basin, we have a backup natural gas generator, and the exhaust pipes, which there's like 2 pipes on that natural gas generator, and it was a lot for that. Just the exhaust pipe was a lot of money,
Okay.
and that's like a, you know, that's an item that you have to buy from them because that's a Cummins brand, and that was ordering the exhaust pipe and labor to install with the batteries, and that one was expensive. Even I looked and said, well, I mean, we need it because that's our backup, you know,
Okay.
power at the basin.
That was inside the EQ basin?
Well, it's the generator, which is outside next to the EQ basin. So if it loses power, that's what runs the basin, and it's probably 20 years old. So that's why that one was just, you know, it was needed. We have Cummins is there every year, you know, on like a maintenance schedule, and they recommended that, so that's why I went with it. Yep.
Okay. Thank you. That's all I had.
That's it? Are there other questions? Kevin, Linda, Phil? Material here. Kevin?
I had a couple questions, Ryan. How many generators do you have there?
2 generators. There's one for the main plant. It's a diesel, and then one for the EQ basin natural gas. And they're big size, probably 400 kW. I mean, they're, yeah,
So they're,
40 k. Yeah.
do you keep track of how many hours are on them?
Yeah,
And-
the one for the main plant, we run every month, and then we keep track of the hours. And then the one for the EQ basin actually runs on its own every week. It's on a timer, and that.
So
And
that they're backups if the power goes off?
Yeah,
Do you have any idea their age,
the
roughly?
main plant, one is an original from 1976, but it works well and parts are available. It's a Detroit diesel and it's great. And so that one's how many years old? 50 years old, but it's in good condition and it's serviced every year. So that's why.
Is it digital or
No, it's
analog?
yeah, it's all analog, all the dials, everything, yeah. And the basin one is there's also analog, but that one's 20 years old, but natural
And-
gas.
So they don't get a lot of use unless the power's out?
Not a lot, but we run the one every month, and then
Right.
I mean, we probably order diesel fuel for the main plant generator once every couple years, actually. You know, it's like I think it's like an 800 gallon tank, but exactly, but when it's needed, you know, we're happy we have it. You know, if we lose power, maybe it would run, I don't know, in a year, maybe 20 some hours a year, you know, if we lost power. So it's not much, but
The other question I had is, I noticed there are, like Newport Electric vendors that are used multiple times. Do they bid for that work? How does that work?
So essentially, Veolia contracts with these entities, and then under our contract, we pay Veolia for expenditures or costs associated with these vendors they use under our contract with them. So in the way it's organized, it's purposeful so that, you know, because everything over there is critical. And, you know, our contract is with them to maintain the facility. So really, it's part of our cost associated with their operation of the plant. So I don't know if that answers your question or not, but we're paying them for their services, and then they have subs, which these entities are to Veolia for this work that they do.
And so the work is not bid out then, is what you're saying?
no, it's not.
Okay.
But we have an electrician such as Newport who is very familiar with the place. They've been our electricians for a long time, probably 20 some years. So we use them based on their familiarity with everything at the plant. And like, for example, UIS SCADA's another one who services other wastewaters in the area. Their, you know, experiences, like emergency calls, they're available immediately. Newport is too, if we need them for emergency.
Thank you.
Yep.
So really, there is no bidding process because it runs through Veolia?
Well, and I think, Kevin, the other thing is, as he said, it's emergency service.
Right,
Something goes
right.
down at the plant, they'll come out in the middle of the night.
Yeah, it's like having a prime contractor. Let's say we bid out services using a prime contractor, which is the case with Veolia. We bid out and review operator proposals, and then they have subcontractors they use, no different than, we do business with the prime, and they might sub out work to different vendors that they use to help out with their, their project. Same situation here, but these are eligible expenditures that Veolia has incurred that we reimburse them under the contract for maintenance of our plant, so.
I'd be remiss if I didn't ask. So, the other thing is, and this is an aside, I noticed somebody clogged up the sink, and it had to have a plumber come in.
Yeah, in the
And I'm
lab.
thinking in a sewage plant where everything is, that's a humor.
Yeah, it was a plug in the lab sink because, we wash a lot of like sludge, like we take our sludge samples and it was
Okay,
Subkey
that's
we
good
use a
enough.
lot because they're right on the island. Familiarity.
I know,
Service is great,
I'm
but-
kidding.
Sometimes it's a sink, sometimes it's a drain, we never, but that
That's
happened.
very common in homes, I guess. I think that answers, I did have a couple, I noticed it looked like there was tax charged. Was Veolia charged tax and then reimbursed the township, or, I noticed
Well,
that,
Veolia will charge tax on certain items. But, because remember, Veolia is buying these services and products, and they're an entity. So then, like,
Commercial
sometimes if
entity.
you notice that there might be like on May 2020, $20.84 tax for Swan Island lift station cellular alarm service. So that was like a yearly subscription, and they add that on there, whether it's 6% or, they're based in
so you just pass it on?
exactly.
Okay.
And some things they add the tax to, but then some things they don't, and I'm not really.
Well,
that's
and
up
it's
to their
probably
business.
because if it's in,
Yeah.
if they don't catch that it's for Veolia, which is a for-profit entity,
Yeah.
then they might not charge tax versus you're the contracting entity with that vendor, and you're for-profit, so they're gonna charge you for that.
You are right.
I noticed that
They pass it on to us. Or, yeah.
okay, when I'm signing checks, the finance director always subtracts tax, that's why I just asked, so, thank you. This is a very nicely organized report, thank you very much, I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's monthly. I'll try to number the pages next year. But it basically goes from April to April. And this year, we actually, normally it would go from April 1st until March 31st, but Veolia added in April of this year. It was just easier how it all, these charges, they happened in March, but they charged them in April, so technically it's accounting on their end. But every year I always look at the past MCAP to make sure nothing was charged twice. It's an effort between me and their accountants, and we have to agree,
Thank you.
so, yeah.
I do have one more question, and this is, I know you guys, everybody sort of talked about this before. There was more than one of the lift stations that had to be fixed, right? And was that after a storm event or I don't recall it was a couple of them went down, it wasn't in the same storm, or was it just aging, things wear out?
Recently, Swan Island, we repaired the discharge pipes in the lift station. One of them actually, there was a hole in it in the elbow. It was within the well though. And then the contractor came out there, looked at the pipe, and then they tried to make a fix, but then they made it worse because the upstream connector, they weren't able to actually make that connections. So actually at Swan Island, we replaced both of the discharge pipes with stainless steel pipe. So that one's fine, and it was never in harm's way of anything. Yeah.
Kevin's referring to, I think it's in December's bill, Kennedy Industries, East River Lift Station, multi-smart meter install.
There was a,
Oh,
I
yeah.
recall it now, it was a water infiltration.
Yeah, we had a weather issue.
Yes, okay, I'm sorry.
Got a lot of
That's-
rain that day, and there's, where the East River one is, it's just right off the lake there, and when the wind was just blowing that way, it actually got water into the control panel, which then got into the computer system.
I remember you telling me
And
now,
it,
thank you, I'm sorry.
And that's a good example of, in this situation, it was under the maintenance cap. You guys contracted with Kennedy because it was an emergency to get it up and running.
Yeah, they were out there the next day.
And we reimbursed that,
And-
and then, we had the opportunity to treat these things as not emergencies and swap them all out. We bid out that work and we handled it outside of the maintenance cap for the replacement and repair of the other units as well, so.
Exactly, and all that work, all the lift stations, actually a week ago, or 2 weeks ago, Kennedy replaced all the multi-smart computer systems and all the level indicators, which is radar. Yeah, and then after that happened with the water damage, we went around to all the cabinets, sealed them all up, so it's not gonna happen at any other lift station.
I recall you telling me now, thank you for repeating it. Thanks.
Are there other questions? I thought somebody'd pick up on the purchase of walkie-talkies, and
I did see that.
so I talked to Ryan about that, and of course, here's the deal. You've all been down in the primary intake room. He has no phone service down there. And if you're trying to coordinate something, or in the RBC building, if they're in the building, they don't have phone service. And they're trying to coordinate between 2 or 3 of the workers. They've always had these, and it seems like every year we're replacing a walkie-talkie or 2. But I thought somebody'd pick up on that, but anyway. And the other thing I want to mention on this is generally Ryan, when he gets a large expenditure, he confers with our township manager about that, and, right? And so the 2 of them are working, anything generally over $2,500, they're talking about it, so.
Yep.
It's a long list and a lot of stuff, but
Mhm.
we gotta keep the place running.
Right.
An old system, and it's constantly
Yeah.
repair.
Well, even new systems have all these issues, I think.
I forget that we also have Hickory Island and Swan Island and Elba Island
Well, the
and,
lift stations, right?
yeah, so
Yeah.
it's a lot of stuff.
Okay, so with that, the motion is to approve the payment of $81,535.10 to Veolia for the maintenance cap overages.
Second?
I'll make the motion. You're going to second it, Kevin?
I'm sorry.
Is there any other questions? If not, all in favor? Oh, Phil?
Yeah, on the last page, it shows that the audit increased that almost to $687.97. Is that, should we change that or leave it as is? On the very last page.
That's something that I didn't.
Yeah, I
see.
believe you're right, Phil, so that is the number, that
The
600, so it's an extra
687?
100 and whatever, yeah. Yep. So that, which is about 100,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's 100
$81,687
thereabouts.
bucks. So that's the final amount, yeah. The larger of the two, yep.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Amount needs to be changed.
So the amount we're approving is $81,687.
687.
Correct.
Okay. All right.
Made the motion?
Derek, do you agree?
Yeah, yes, I do. Yes, and if the motion maker is, okay
Made the
with
motion. Who made the
modifying.
motion to begin
Bill
with?
did, you did, because then he
You did.
seconded.
And then Kevin, you supported it?
Seconded.
I second.
And both Bill and Kevin are okay with modifying it to reflect $81,687.97?
Yes.
Okay.
You know, if you're chairman, you gotta keep track of who's making motions here.
They put that in the small print.
Are there any other,
Yeah.
any other questions? If not, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion's carried. Thank you, Ryan.
Right.
Is this, you're up there, is this, I gotta look at the agenda. Opportunity for Ryan to give any updates on anything? Where are
Couple
we?
more items. The power study results, I'm waiting on that. Had a meeting between UIS, C-Rains, Derek was there, it was, and it was decided that UIS's engineer who provided us with the meter and who has the results is looking into how best use that information to approach DTE, because we have main transformers which are out in the yard. I think we own those. They're not DTE, and then it also comes into play what's on the pole outside the plant is DTE. So we have to just kind of figure out where we go from here. You know, what's the best route?
Well, clearly,
And
will you
everything.
restate the biggest issues with them? Would you restate the big issue that
We
your
have power
surges,
spikes.
power surges?
Yeah, which can happen at any time. Seemed like it was happening more a month or so ago. Everybody was running their AC, and actually now we haven't had as many, but that's more than likely why. But more in importantly, our HVAC unit on the roof is very, very sensitive with power surges, so it's inoperable right now. Maybe in a month or two we could see if it would run for heating season. Maybe it would work better in the winter, you know, based on
But Ryan,
power
DTE
surges.
is responsible for providing a fairly consistent, clean level of power, certain wattage, certain amperes, everything else. What is it that they are saying about the power spikes and how to resolve that? That should be done at the
Okay.
transformer level before, the electricity enters the plant.
Yeah, and that UIS, their engineers looking into that, like how we should we fix our transformers, or what.
So UIS they put monitoring equipment on it for a period of what, a month or so?
I think it was 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yep.
And we received
In the
those results.
transformer. Yep.
And like Ryan mentioned, their engineer, so we got together and we reviewed those results, and it looks like there are a significant number of peaks and valleys. So UIS's electrical engineer was basically dissecting that data further to be able to provide to us basically a case to go to DTE and say, hey, look, these are outside of the parameters of what they should be. This is your responsibility to resolve these issues. Here are specific situations where they're outside of what the standards are.
Right.
So that's what's going on right now. They're gathering that information so that they can present it to us, so then we can go to DT and make that case to them. So, because you're correct. I mean, they have a responsibility. If their supply is outside of what our equipment and the industry standards are, then they need to address that. But we need to show exactly how much and where and why, or not necessarily why, but how much and when, that happened. And that way we can advocate for a resolution to the issue.
But to wait for another month or two, to see if the air conditioning unit was expensive to put into that unit, right?
I think what he's saying is that we're not sure how long, the resolution will take with DT and how hard we're going to have to fight them to resolve the issue. The electrical obviously is more of an issue with the AC system. What he's saying, I think, is, they can probably operate the heating system if the resolution to the issue doesn't occur, soon. Because my guess is DTE is probably not going to resolve it tomorrow. I mean, it's going to be a bit probably for them to take the information we provide to them and make a determination and then implement some sort of solution to the issue. So.
And in the meantime, we do have a heater in the lab. It's a gas heater, and we have a main furnace in the main room. It's just a main, furnace out there. So we can have heat. It's just not how we'd like to have heat.
I think his concern is firing up the system too and having some of these surges come through and
I don't wanna wreck it.
permanently damaging something, which then wouldn't be covered under the warranty. So,
Right.
yeah.
I mean, DTE is very, very skilled in assessing what a problem is with voltage spikes. They know that there's inconsistencies on the island because of the fact that we don't have, redundant power lines from north to south, all right? I've experienced that personally when I used to install home standby generators. I would have, voltage in excess of 140 volts coming in on a single line down the south end of the island. Now, I had no lever like what we have as a township to make them respond to that, but they're spending a significant amount of money across the river with clean energy, with the battery operation, with that whole solar plant. So, they have the resources.
Yeah, I called UIS, I called them this week and last week, no response. So I guess we kind of press harder on them to.
We don't need
Yeah.
power spikes wrecking any equipment. Then we'll have to go through another legal battle getting them to take ownership to replace it or repair it.
But we're just leaving it off right now because that's, we don't want to
Well,
wreck it anymore.
but that's not an answer. And UIS
Yeah,
is the contractor that you rely on at the plant.
did the power study? Yeah,
And so,
I think we deserve more out of them. So I'll
well, what about
try.
our relationship with DTE directly?
I think we have a good relationship with DT. We just got to get the information from UIS with the conclusions to present to them. And then we have contacts with DT to, hopefully, advocate for a solution.
Then you need to get UIS to respond.
Yeah, I'll call their main manager of UIS
Tell them you got to
tomorrow.
give a report at the next month meeting.
Exactly.
What progress has been made.
So,
Completion. You have to give a completion
deadline.
report.
okay.
Okay?
Yep.
We do that?
Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll look for a report from you on that next month's meeting. Okay?
All right.
Derek, what else, Ryan? Do you have anything?
Sludge haul will be happening here in a week or two. So, because we're hauling again, so we haul 2 times a year.
Right.
So actually the sludge hauler reached out to me last week and said that this week's already half over, but they'll be bringing equipment. So all their equipment, like the press and the boxes and everything. So actually I'll call him tomorrow, and then hopefully in a week or so we'll be removing sludge and moving it off the island. As long as the free bridge, maybe in a week, once Meridian's wrapped up in that, with
What-
like the stop and go with that,
Right. Yeah, it should be over with
Equipment.
by the beginning
Yeah.
of next week.
So we
What
should be good.
percentage are you at?
Oh, we're halfway right now on our capacity, which is exactly where we're supposed to be at, because we're midway, Got hauled out 6 months ago, so that's makes sense. So,
Anything else?
a capital improvement item is the EQ Basin Channel Monster. So this is essentially, it's a grinder for the EQ basin. So when we use that tank during high flows, all the flow goes through this, gets a grinder, so if there's any wipes or it minces it up. This unit gets an original unit, so it's Muffin Monster, and from 2005, we've never done like a rebuild or anything on the unit except for just standard maintenance, changing oil and that. So Solberg Knowles is the JWC rep for Michigan for Muffin Monsters, so you have to use them. And basically all we need is it's called a renew, which is all the teeth will be replaced, and so everything that is lower than where the motor is on the unit. And we would ourselves pull that unit out, a crane's over there, and just leave it on the concrete, and they would come do the rebuild in one day, and then we can just lower it back in place and it's operational. So it's looking like this will be winter time, which is low flows at the plant. So we're not going to be in a situation where we need the basin and this is out of service, because it's only one day that we wouldn't have the unit. So we had in the budget 60 grand, and he was able to keep that within the budget. So we do all this work, and it'll be good for another 20 some years. The way I look at it is it's never had a rebuild, and if something happened with that channel monster during high flows and where we need the basin, we wouldn't be able to fill the basin, because this is at the front of the basin where it's fed with all the flow. So I just think it's smart to renew it.
So Ryan, can, because this is the first time the commission will have seen this, couple of things. Would it be okay by you to get it in front of the commission at their next meeting, which would be in October?
Yeah, that's fine.
And then
It's
can
not an emergency. And then I actually already forwarded this to C. Rains already. So Heil's okay with it. He just said that we got to have the surety bonding in place, however that works. You know.
Yeah, and then can you get me a letter
And they
from?
are the sole source on this, which is
Did they?
right there.
Okay, so they do. They have provided you a letter of that. Okay.
Why we would use them. I mean, the unit works great. You know, I wouldn't buy something totally.
Is that actually a picture
Different.
of a muffin monster on that sole source letter? Is that what that is?
No, that's their logo,
Okay. All right.
but essentially that's what it is. It eats everything. It minces everything up. Basically, it's a grinder.
On your previous page, though, you said you had $60,000 in budget, and
Yeah.
the price was 59,000.
59.
135 without shipping. So, I mean, is shipping cost going to blow the budget of 60,000?
And if there's a question
taxes and
about
stuff
why
like
it's
that?
so close, usually what happens is when we put the budget together, I'll go to Ryan, and Ryan will say, okay, the upcoming fiscal year, we have these projects we'd like to do. And then I'll ask Ryan to give me estimated pricing, so usually he will talk to vendors and manufacturers and say, well, how much are these things gonna cost, or Rains for that matter? And then we try to budget appropriately for the expected expense for these projects. So that's what happened in this situation, so.
Okay.
Well, actually, right there it says price. It does include.
It says it includes it.
shipping, no
It
taxes.
does include shipping.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. I'm sorry.
So
Okay.
basically, we buy the parts once for that 59,000, we'll get the parts and then we'll remove it, and then their techs will come, rebuild it, and then we'll just put it back in place. So
Brian, I've got a question. You say they're gonna come out and they're gonna do this in a day.
yep.
So it's $60,000. Is there a breakdown on how much these parts are versus how much we're paying for the labor?
Well, it's all under that description is what you're getting. But no, I can ask for that.
I'm just curious, does that sound reasonable for the amount that is spent on parts versus labor? I mean,
It is kind of a proprietary item that you have to buy this,
so the parts come from
them.
them.
It comes directly from, and from JWC is who these parts actually come from. So, then it is expensive. But the thing, I mean, it's built like a
But it said you're
tank,
supplying
I
the
mean,
motor.
Yes, we're reusing the motor because nothing's wrong with the motor.
Reuse the motor.
Exactly.
Okay.
And the reason that originally I just thought, well, the teeth are worn, so we're just gonna replace the teeth.
Can you give me a general size of this thing? Bigger than a bread box?
Oh, it's
Smaller
probably
than, I mean, what?
7
what's-
feet tall, maybe 4 feet wide. It weighs
Okay, so there's a
about
lot of stuff in this thing.
2,000 pounds.
Okay,
It's big.
got it.
Then originally, I was just thinking about just replacing all the cutters, and they said that they wouldn't recommend that because they've had problems where the techs tried to just replace those parts, and then over the years, everything, like all the metal kind of just morphed together, and then they ran into more problems, and then it actually cost you more in the end. Running into problems and not having the unit. So
okay.
this was the
So
best
the major
option.
portion of this is the parts.
Mainly the parts are very,
Yeah.
expensive. Then the labor, you're probably right. It's not much for labor, but for the parts is what's,
Well, I think it's reasonable to get a breakdown on the parts.
Parts and labor.
I can
always.
So
ask for
before it
that.
goes,
Yep.
if we're gonna are we being asked to do something tonight with this then?
So I guess my suggestion would be get that additional information. We'll bring it back to you as an action item in your October meeting. And then generally, there's a second board meeting in October that's after your DPS commission meeting, so we could have it approved by probably the third or fourth week in October, if that'd be okay for you.
Yeah, that's fine. This is not an emergency. I mean, I have all the way till the end of the budget year, and it would just,
So you'll make it a formal agenda item.
Correct, yes.
You'll ask them, we
Yeah.
are asking for a parts breakdown versus
breakdown of
labor
everything.
breakdown.
Yep.
And then, as Kevin asked earlier, I noticed on the page you already flip back to the other page, it says that taxes are not included. So we're a municipality, we don't pay taxes, right?
Right, in this situation, we're a direct contract, we have a direct contract with the vendor, so it would be tax-free.
Oh, it says price does not include taxes, so we wouldn't pay taxes.
Correct.
As a municipality, okay. Because taxes on $60,000 could be substantial.
Right.
So if you could do that, I think, does anybody have any other issues?
You said this is is there only one company in the country that makes these?
Yes.
This exact unit, yes, unless we went with something totally
You'd have to
different, then we'd have to engineer, and then, but yeah, Muffin Monster is well known for this. for the
Well, it would cost,
grinders.
if we had to buy a new grinder, I call it a
A
grinder.
new one is,
It probably a couple $100,000.
I could also ask for, well, what's the price of a new grinder of this size? It's probably $150,000. It's probably almost twice as much as rebuild, so that's why
Oh,
I
so-
could ask for that.
So we're getting a rebuild, okay.
It's a renew, where they pretty much
Got
just,
it.
make it last another, 20
Do
years.
they give us any kind of warranty on their work, Brian?
I can ask for that too.
Okay.
'Cause that's important. I'll get that. Okay. That's
that
all
it?
I have. Yeah.
That's it? Well, thank you very much.
I have one question.
Okay.
I think it was last month we talked about transfer pumps. You were having problems with the new ones that
Secondary
were,
sludge.
yeah, where
Yeah.
they were horizontal previously and now they
Yep.
installed vertical ones and there were
Yep.
some issues with that. Did you get all that resolved?
We are right now.
Okay.
And Kennedy was in there a week ago, and they installed those back flush lines,
Okay.
and where it was on like an automatic flushing valve. It's supposed to flush the pumps for so many minutes, and then it turns the pumps on, and it worked, pumping our sludge to the head of the plant, so like just recirculating sludge. However, it would not pump it to the secondary sludge storage tank, how it's supposed to operate. We're supposed to completely remove the sludge from the wastewater plant. So, and then after that, we started filling our new tank. That's the most important one that we have up and running yesterday, and we're going to test that tomorrow and see if we can remove sludge out of that one. And that's the most important thing, is that we get that new tank operational, because that's in the violation letter, that we have to have it operational even if we can manually remove the sludge out of that tank, versus it being on this timers where like it runs every hour for like a minute or two. Kennedy is also going to, when they came and they altered the pumps so they would run on the timer, but we can't just run them manually anymore, like just turn it on and run it. So they're also coming out tomorrow to fix our issue with that. So we're still working with them on these issues. It's not resolved, no. Which is why it was just kind of the same as it was last meeting. We're just kind of, my main concern is with our original two tanks, we can manually operate the pumps to either pump that sludge into the head of the plant or the secondary sludge. It's just more of a manual operation. But with the new tank, we have to make sure that we can operate it, whether that's manually operating the pump to remove the sludge or automatic operation. So I'm going to know by week's end with the new tank if that's operational at all.
But that's only one of the aspects, right? You still have to be able to pump it to the head of the old tanks, right?
Yes, to the secondary sludge
Right.
storage tank. So my main focus is on the violation letter, that we just make sure that that new tank is operational, since that's in our ACO agreement. If we can even manually operate that tank, then at least in the meantime, we're going to keep working through these pump issues. It's not that the pumps don't work. It's just it's a manual operation where we have to back flush the pump and hold the check valve up, and it's ongoing.
But that's not within this. That's not what was in the scope of putting in those new pumps. Is having to do that
No,
manual work,
Nope.
right?
No.
So I mean, the reason I'm bringing this up is because we talked about, seemed to be an impasse with Kennedy last time, that they said, and I think the new pumps are vertical pumps, are they not?
Yes.
And the
Yep.
older pumps were horizontal pumps, and you had no problems with the horizontal pumps.
Well, actually, the one pump that's horizontal for the new tank, basically it's the same results, whether it's vertical or horizontal. So that's why that was not really a
Okay.
solution. But it's a strange one.
Yeah,
No,
part of the issue, well, the main issue up until a week or so ago was the priming. They were losing prime. So the equipment they recently put in was to address that issue, which it seems like maybe that's been addressed, at least partially, the priming. But
seems like it helps,
Yeah.
but it's not the fix.
But now we also have an issue with lifting the material up to where it needs to go, which,
Yep.
are they gonna be looking at that when they come in, was it tomorrow or
Yeah.
Thursday too? So,
Yeah, they'll be here tomorrow, and then I'm gonna. Yeah, they're gonna help us with everything.
so the,
You know, 'cause-
you know, maybe there's pump curve, you know, ramp ups and RPMs and stuff that they can adjust to address that, but, you know, ultimately, you know, we have to have operating pumps that work as intended,
Right.
which is, you know, they know that's our expectation. You know, we're trying to work with them to exhaust all opportunities to try to get these working, but, you know, we also know that there's gotta be a finite end to this. And I think to Ryan's point, there are other things in the interim that have to be addressed from a compliance standpoint. So there's a lot of different moving parts to this, but at the end of the day, we have to have an application that works. And where this is gonna end up, I don't know that we know at this point, but we're trying to exhaust all opportunities with them.
Well, if we could just make sure we get an update on this
Sure.
at our next meeting.
Well, this is
Yep, I will.
warranty work, right? With the ACO?
No, it's not. No, this was something separate from the
This
ACO.
involves the removing the sludge at the new tank.
It does, but, it's not necessarily associated with the ACO. It was, you know, these pumps are being used to pull the sludge off of that. And did they add a pump for the final clarifier that was installed, or did they just appropriate one?
We added a pump, and it was the same style pump that we got for our two existing tanks. So, you know, that was our problem, is we didn't really know the problem, and then for our new tank, we just bought the exact same pump that we got and now we're having the same problem. So that's, you know.
I think what happened with the ACO work was the final clarifier was installed, the piping went to this facility, and then the pump was installed for that with the other two pumps that were for the existing clarifiers. So,
Yeah, it's all in the same
same room.
building. It all leads in there. But
Oh, gotta come up with a solution.
it's in progress. I mean, I talk to Kennedy, you know, probably at least a few times a week on this. You know, we're really on there, and everybody there to, you know, keep, you know,
Yeah.
exhausting our options. But yeah, I agree with you. By next month, we better have a, you know, solution. I'm hopeful with the new tank, at least if we can manually remove the sludge, then we can just manually do that every day, which meets our ACO requirements.
And then also
Main thing.
we've had our engineers reach out to Wemco, which is the manufacturer of the pumps that we had in there before we went to these flight pumps that Kennedy supplied, to get a quote from them to take us back to Wemco. So we'll have that at least at the ready, to review as an option if we can get resolution out of Kennedy. And then, you know, we would begin the process of having them pull their pumps and seeking reimbursement for the units that obviously aren't operating as intended for us, so.
Good.
And we've already sent correspondence Kennedy's way from our counsel, our legal counsel, so.
All right.
Final question, the new tank is full of water,
It's running right now. Yeah, it's operational.
and it's working good.
Flowing. Yeah, it works like a clarifier, except, yeah, everything with the tank is great. It's just the pump that's maybe 200 feet away in the building, it, you know, is where the problem is. It can't, you know, it's having issues with removing the sludge out of the tank or out of the.
So other than that, it's working.
Yeah, yeah, yep. So,
That it's overflowing
well, it's going over the weirs, you know.
over the weirs.
How it's supposed to work.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's not overflowing. It's not
Gotcha.
going where it's
Okay.
not supposed to. Yep, yep.
All right. I guess you'll bring that back too, right?
Yeah, yeah, you guys would be aware of what's going on with that.
Okay, thank
I'll
you.
have an update for next month on that. Yep.
Okay.
So you got DTE and that.
DT and that. Yep. I got it. Yep.
Nothing else?
Nope.
Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you, Ryan.
Okay, now it's the time, commissioners' items, or discussion, commissioner input. So you recall the last meeting, I gave you guys a memo and asked that you would bring back to this meeting ideas that you might have. I know we were focusing on roads primarily, but they're exhibited that there were other things too, roadside maintenance or whatever. So what we want to do is go through, start with everybody and see if you have some ideas of things you would think would be priority for next year. And I'm going to start taking notes. So we'll start with Lance.
All right, thank you, sir. I definitely agree with you on these AT&T boxes up and down Meridian. I mean, I took a walk from Parkway to the airport and yesterday and back, and I was like, yeah, these are, you know, they got to do something with them. I don't know why they can't bury them, or maybe we can have a community Boy Scouts maybe paint them, have them look halfway
Well, they
decent.
got to
I
be
mean,
fixed. They got to be fixed.
They can't bury that stuff?
Well, we'll
It's
find
off
out.
food lines.
John, we have the number to call at AT&T, and if it's, this is something I brought up to Derek. He went out and actually taped the one at the corner up here to make it look better. But between John and Derek and I, we're working on it.
Okay, all right. I know there's 4 large potholes on Groseville Parkway, also known as Parkway Drive, basically down my father's road.
That's a gravel section of road, right?
Yeah, it's a gravel. Yeah, right where the gravel meets the asphalt, there's actually 3 very large potholes that you can't miss them. The Macomb Street issue I had a while ago has been fixed. It was on Macomb Street, just east of Park Lane, the road there, the sewer.
Concrete.
That was fixed, the concrete.
Yep.
I'm glad to see that Elba Island is finally gonna get repaved. It's hard to believe that turned that bad.
It's
I mean,
bad.
It's been a lot, it's real bad. I mean, I drove down it a couple of weeks ago and it's like, yeah, I've been complaining about that road a long time ago if I lived down there.
Yep, yep.
So, the Groseville Parkway signs, all of them have not been changed yet.
Where is that?
The corner of Parkway Drive in Dallas, the corner of Woodside and Parkway Drive.
John knows about that?
John knows about that.
Keim? Okay.
Yep. And last thing is the speed bumps on Parkway going up to the bridge. Also, the loud clanking noise you get when you drive over the bridge.
Can't do
Why
anything
hasn't
about
that been, I mean, why didn't Wayne County fix that when we had it down not too long ago? I thought those noises would go away. I mean, the speed bumps I understand, but they're getting flattened out a little bit by the asphalt trucks coming over the last few days, so.
Okay,
That's it?
that's it? Okay. Ray?
Question for Derek. I noticed when I drove down Meridian Road today on the new paved section, so that would have been, you know, heading south, that around the Lakewood area, there's a section of road that they didn't replace, so they replaced a section prior to that. Looks like they replaced the section after that, but is that what this whole repaving process is going to be? Is there's going to be some areas of Meridian that's going to be replaced and some areas that is not?
No. My understanding is that these past couple of days, they've been milling and replacing intersections and radiuses on most of the intersecting streets, and then also milling and doing some sub-base repairs in areas that were especially bad.
Okay.
So you see some, like you said, the kind of piecemeal portions on either side of the road. Those were just areas that they felt they needed to see what's going on underneath in case base repair was necessary. So they worked on those areas first. Starting tomorrow, they're supposed to do milling on the full road length on the north side, and then they'll move to the southbound side after they get done with the northbound side. So they'll be doing that full, they'll be milling that full stretch starting tomorrow.
Okay. It's just kind of strange how they milled
Right.
some
Yeah,
of it,
seen piecemeal,
stopped, and
yeah.
then they milled the other. 'Cause-
There was some comment on Facebook I saw earlier today about, is that all they're gonna give us are these spot patches? And no, that's not the case. It's
Okay.
areas where the surface was really bad, which indicated maybe there's something going on the subsurface that they need to evaluate to see if there's a repair that needs to be done down there. So that's what that was all about.
And then the only other area I think is already on our plan is on East River. It appears that from the school, some from the middle school to almost Macomb, not quite Macomb.
The Grays.
Yeah,
From Ferry to
yeah,
Macomb,
to
yeah.
Grays, yeah. It's kind of
That's getting
degraded
bad.
and stuff like that, so.
Okay, that's been going on for a while, so
Yep.
I know Derek talked about that a year ago, that section, so we'll put that on our list.
Then the last thing is our bridges plan. So we've got Elba Island, we've got the Ferry Road Bridge, and then we have the Park Lane Bridge that always gets left
Swan
out.
Island, Swan Island.
No, Park Lane, north, the one that you can't drive over.
That they're not gonna fix.
Well, it doesn't, okay, so, the way I look at it, Swan Island and Elba, if something happens to those bridges, those people are stuck.
I understand.
And then Ferry, we know, is in bad shape. The county closed the North Park Lane Bridge, and two things, as far as I know, they have no plans to do anything with it. And second, the residents like it the way it is.
Fire department doesn't though. If Lenny was
Well,
here, he would be the first to
Yeah,
tell you.
it takes an extra 30 seconds to,
Well, longer than that.
anyway, okay, so I've been focusing, Ray, mostly on the three bridges that we've been talking about regularly, which is Ferry, Swan, and
Right.
Elba. The other one I've kind of forsaken for now, but that's just my opinion.
I'd say Swan Island Bridge is probably the worst one out of the
Yeah.
three, wouldn't you?
Well, there's 70 people that live on Elba, 70 homes, and Swan Island's about half that, right?
40-some, yeah.
We've been pushing for both of them, and I don't know where that stands, but that's a discussion for another day, I guess.
Well, this is part of the whole planning process,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
we're trying to put all the stuff forward as working issues.
So your issue is all three bridges. I like that. Okay.
4. You continually drop that fourth bridge. This is an island. We represent the island, all of the island. Well,
All right. So four bridges, but two of them are critical in terms of
absolutely.
people being stuck if a bridge fails.
Yeah.
All right. So then
That's it.
I'm gonna. So my issues. The primary issue that I have with roads, and I'm waiting for other people to speak up, but Bellevue Road from Meridian west to West River. Now, I don't propose that we would spend money to redo all that, but from about the end of the swimming pool at the country club, it starts to dip in several spots, and up to where the country club ends their property. That section of road not only seems to be in disrepair, but it seems to be that the outer edges, especially of the north edge, is starting to really fail. And that's something we'd have to take a look at. So we might want to build that up, but I would put that on my list. So my issue would be, we need to look at Bellevue, have somebody really look at that and think about it. Not the whole road, but that section of it, because I think it's really gonna start failing. And it seems to get a lot of traffic back and forth for some reason, so.
Bill, is that part of or,
I don't think that's on the list.
no, what I was thinking, is it part of the, what's the big?
The connector,
Connector,
you know,
yeah.
Greenways,
Right.
Oh,
Bell Trail.
it's something we know little about.
Yeah, there's been talk about that, I don't know what.
Yeah, I'm not sure where the construction is at schedule-wise, but there were grant funds that were allocated, and they're planning on doing a connection from basically the West River Road ramp, south along West River Road, and then up Bellevue Road. I believe it's gonna be on the north side. There had been some talk about, using the road or whatnot, but it sounds like it's gonna be off the road, so, the exact location, we've got diagrams and engineered drawings that were provided to us, but there is going to be some trail work that's gonna be done, hopefully in the near future in that area, so.
Is that to connect to our bike path system,
That's correct, yeah,
basically?
yep.
Okay.
It's to be able to come across the bridge and have a pathway to get into our, without having to,
Suicide trail.
bicycle down, Parkway or something.
It would be built in the edge of the golf course?
Yes, in the Wayne County right away,
Okay.
along the edge of the road.
Well, that's the one road that I
Along the area where
bring
the
up.
fence is and everything.
And then the other issue is at the ramp that comes off the county bridge. We still have that AT&T line laying on that field, so that's an item. And John's aware of my concern there. I think you are too. So when the overpass was redone, DTE had it was AT&T. AT&T had a cable that was above the road. So, when we were under construction, they found out that several customers lost service. So they put the line on the, through what was an unkept parcel of property. And it's still there. We mow around it
Yeah.
right now.
Yep.
So we brought that up to them a year ago, and they said they got to figure out what to do with it. We never heard a thing about it. So that's a priority. But then there's the fence line along the golf course, the Water's Edge Golf Course, that you guys have cleaned up. It really looks nice. It cut all the, I don't know if people have noticed it.
We noticed it.
All the
right now.
vegetation's been cut out, all the poison ivy been cut out.
Well, it's all been killed. It's
It look-
still hanging
well,
on the fence, yeah.
It looks a lot better, and I know the fence has to come down, and then the question is, what are we gonna do to put, there's only one hole there that people hit up, and I don't want golf balls coming out onto the road. So I don't know what we're gonna do about that, so I'm gonna just put that down as we need to have a plan for next year, how we're gonna deal with that.
Yeah, and part of it overlaps into the recreation department, because that is their facility, that is their fence, and what they're gonna do. I mean, we helped from the standpoint of it's the roadside, to help clean it up, but, they're gonna have some responsibility when it comes to, doing something with that fence, whether it's putting a cable in there like there is, on the northern portion of that stretch, or replacing that fence, or repairing that fence, or whatever it might be. So I know I've had some conversations with the recreation director to emphasize to him that, from an aesthetic standpoint, it would be very beneficial to change that. And I think that they're planning on doing that. So it can be a bit of a partnership between the two departments to try to get that resolved.
Yeah, and personally, I don't want Kevin to swallow hard on this one, because you're the treasurer, but personally, it's road right away. And if we have to cooperate with them and contribute some, and I'm thinking just a few $1,000s, 5,000, whatever it might be, to help clean that area up, my personal feeling is we should consider that. That's road right away. We're responsible for road right away, or we've taken on that responsibility. We do the mowing for roadsides, and it's, and Phil knows, people have commented how ugly that looks when it's not maintained. So it looks a lot better now, even though everything's dead. And they're gonna mow it from now on. But I'd like to keep this movement going. And by the way, I'm gonna make a list and give it to you, Derek. So
Okay.
you can just say we discussed all this and a lot of ideas, and I was gonna supply you with what the ideas are.
Does the connector go through that area?
No, it stops, or it goes eastbound down Bellevue, from, where Tipsy Fish is on the corner there. It rounds that corner and goes down Bellevue.
It's gonna go along that area, though.
No,
No,
No?
no.
it goes from the West River Road ramp
Oh, okay.
south in front of the restaurant along West River
Then
Road.
turns right away, it turns right up
Then
before
turns on
that.
Bellevue.
Okay, yeah, you're right. Got it.
Okay, those are my comments. Phil?
I want to start with the Park Lane Bridge. I know there's residents up there that like it closed, but the issue is beyond just the distance that the fire department or ambulances would have to travel. If you recall, Lenny, at a couple meetings ago, they don't have access to water for the trucks because I guess the hydrant is on the south side of that bridge, the closest hydrant, and they'd have to go way further north along Park Lane to get a hydrant. I mean, his concern was water supply also in that area because the bridge blocks them from accessing the hydrant to the south. So I think it's, I understand people just would like it the way it is. Wayne County doesn't care, but I think there is a safety factor to it also. That, I'll just throw that out there. The other bridges, let me address the Swan Island Bridge. They were going to work on it this year, and everything's going crickets on that. But we proposed to pave the section leading up to the Swan Island Bridge to the east, and from the intersection of South Point to the bridge. And I've also noticed that on the west side of the bridge, down towards Swan Island Drive, we paved that intersection at Swan Island Drive, but it's getting some potholes there. But I'm wondering whether we should do that project if replacing that bridge is anywhere in the next couple of years of being done, because anything we do is just going to get totally torn up when they redo that bridge. So I don't know whether we want to invest our township money in that if Wayne County is serious in the near future of replacing that bridge.
So I can tell you that, number one, I'm not sure when Swan Island will be done. I know it needs to be done. Conservative estimate could be a couple of years. I can tell you on Elba, we're stopping 150 feet short on either ends of the bridge with our paving project with that in mind. And last, the cost to do that stretch of Swan is like $70,000, I think, with Al's.
Bucks
So,
a buck.
Yeah, so those, maybe that information will help you guys.
Well, I mean, we would also be about 150 feet on either side of it that we would be paving. I'm just saying that the road is not that bad. Maybe a little pothole repair on it, but it would all depend on what the schedule is to replace that bridge. If maybe it's just fallen off their list altogether, I don't know.
Yeah, it comes and goes. I mean, they'll reach out to us with engineering information or questions, and then it'll go crickets for 6 months or 9 months, and
The Swan Island
Yeah.
Bridge, yeah. Well, I mean, I'm just saying, maybe when we get down to really deciding whether we want to do that, we want to consider what the schedule is on that bridge.
well, it is right now. I mean, we are deciding whether to do that or not. Al's is going to be here on Thursday, and that portion of Swan is on the schedule.
That's on the schedule.
It is.
Well, would we want to extend it then to the west side of the bridge, also down to the intersection that we had already done? Because it's starting to fail. There's 2 potholes that are coming up on that now.
Well, that's a question for you folks. I mean, the other option is if you decided you didn't want to do that with the bridge issue, we can move to a different priority like Bellevue, like you mentioned. I mean, we have the money there, we have to spend it because we have that grant from the county.
Right.
And it's a matching grant, so I've got to spend up to a certain amount to be able to be eligible for those dollars. So you can either spend it there or you can spend it somewhere else, but it should be spent, so.
Well, I mean, if it's proper to spend it on that, I just wouldn't want to spend it and then a year and a half later find that it just all gets torn up again and has to.
Well, Phil, I don't know why it would have to get torn up again.
Well, they're talking about putting in a whole new bridge while they're fixing that. So they're going to put a bridge next to it, I think, to the south. So they'd have to go around it, go across this new bridge, then come back and tie into the existing road.
I haven't seen a plan on that bridge,
I mean,
so
that's what I was.
Yeah, and the profile on that bridge is probably gonna be different, which means they're gonna have to probably adjust the approaches some, so they're gonna have to go back and repave certain portions
I mean, that
leading up
was-
to the bridge.
well, and of course, if we don't do it, forget your grant, if we don't do that, theoretically, we'll have the money saved to use for next year, whatever we decide to do.
Well, I mean, the grant has to be spent this year, and I apologize, I didn't bring the breakdown, but
We have to
our
put it
grant is
somewhere
based
else.
upon, a certain amount of money spending out of our own coffers. So, I'd wanna spend whatever is necessary to take full advantage of those grant dollars. And I wanna say we added $170,000 in grant dollars to the budget. So above and beyond the Elba Island project, you have about $170,000 worth of additional work you can do.
Well, I was just throwing that out there.
Mhm.
I agree with Chairman Costick's comment on Bellevue. I drove it today, and it not only seems to become, it seems to like lean off to the side in that
Yes.
area that you're talking about, whereas, it does need to be looked at. The other two roads that I have concerned about, one, and we brought this up before, and somehow maybe we can get Wayne County to take care of it, is Meridian south of Parkway down to Grow is really starting to get in need of repair. I think we've mentioned East River from Ferry down to Macomb, but I'm also noticed that Parkway to the east of Meridian, as you get closer to East River Road, it's starting to need it's going to need some effort here in the not too distant future.
Parkway east of Meridian.
Yeah, east of Meridian, but past the area where the signs need to be changed. But further to the east, almost I'd say within the last eighth of a mile or so, quarter of a mile, as you're getting
Past
to
Old
East
Depot-
River.
Old Depot Road.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that area down there. That's starting to
Yeah, way down.
need. Yeah, way down, way to the east.
Well, as a matter of fact, I
some effort.
brought the intersection of Parkway and East River up before. It's the approaches are deteriorated. Maybe we could flip this money over there. I don't
And
know.
that's automatically going to take more wear and tear because you're going downhill. When you're braking, going downhill, you
Hate to do that to you,
deteriorate the road.
Derek, changing this game plan, but
It's not a problem. I mean, it's just quantities and budget. I mean, I don't think they care where they go. So, as long as it's the same material and it's not some crazy different material, but these are Wayne County roads, so it's a Wayne County mix. So,
I mean, I'd love to see pressure on Wayne County to do Meridian south of Grove.
yeah.
I mean, just keep the heat on them.
That and the East River Road stretch we had talked about.
Because the rest of Meridian will be in good shape after they finish the project they're in now,
Right.
doing now. And like I say, that section's getting pretty bad. But those are my comments.
well, you might have a point on the Swan Island. I mean, I wanted to diversify things a little bit, not just put it all on Elba, but
Yeah, they're gonna, when they do that bridge, they're gonna have excavators all over that, and, they'll stage equipment in those areas on the road itself. It will get tore up. It's just a matter of can you live with it in its current condition for however long it's gonna be between that, now and when that bridge is replaced, which could be 2-3 years, you know?
I mean, I think it would need just some pothole repair. Not just throwing a shovel of stuff 10 yards away from the truck on it, but actually, you know, put some pothole repair on it and just roll it in. I think that would suffice until we get a firm idea of what's gonna happen with the bridge.
Well, that makes sense.
We don't get that much traffic. I mean, you say 44 houses.
So maybe we could take a look at doing something down on Parkway by Old Depot or towards East River instead?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, and I'll take your word for
We'll
that.
talk tomorrow about it with the engineer.
Okay. That's it, Phil?
That's it.
Linda?
Okay. I didn't, we've done so much work on the roads that I don't know if I see a road, if it's bad enough to redo. But I was surprised when they did HCL Jackson, our street, when they did it. So from O'Donnell to Knutson is a little rough, and Knutson to Church on HCL, that's a little rough. But I don't know if it's enough to be fixed, or you've already looked
Now,
at
those
that.
roads, are they asphalt?
No,
Concrete?
they're concrete, but they're a real rough surface.
Right.
Yeah.
Lumpy.
They're like exposed aggregate almost, like.
Yeah, but it's getting there, if that's, you know, that one. We've got a couple of really potholes.
Give me those streets
Okay,
again.
it's from O'Donnell to Knutson, however you say it, and the Knutson to Church.
Okay,
There's a pothole that's been going on, I don't know if you'd call it a pothole, but it's at the end of going down, if you're going north on West River, and you're turning, there's a sharp turn onto Church, and it's a narrow street, so if there's cars sitting there, you end up going over, and that causes a rut, and they fixed it
at
once.
the intersection?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they
East
fixed it
River-
once, but now it's back again.
East River and Church.
West
West
River.
West River.
West River, when you make
Yeah,
that
so you're
turn onto
going,
Church.
so if you're going north on West River, you're making a right turn on Church. I just hit that yesterday.
Yeah, and a friend of ours blew out his tire, and then they did fix it once, but it's dirt, so if it's because the street is, you know, maybe need cement there
That-
to keep it from causing that rut. 'cause
Okay,
The
people will
apron
always.
needs, the apron needs to be expanded
Yeah.
probably a little bit there.
And then there's another pothole. If you're going north on Meridian and you're turning right onto Thoroughfare, there's a pretty big, the same kind of thing. People are making turns, there's a big rut, and
North on
Are they
Meridian.
gonna take care of that now with what they're doing? Or is
oh,
that-
no, I don't think so, because it's off toward, it's on Thoroughfare, more on
It's after
Thoroughfare.
you've turned off on
Yeah,
Meridian?
yeah.
Okay.
Oh, at that intersection where Thoroughfare goes off?
Right. When you go, if you're going north on Meridian, you turn onto Thoroughfare, that part, you know, where you turn right into Thoroughfare. There's a pothole there. And the one thing, and we've talked about this before, but it's, since we bought the bridge, the Pay Bridge, when you're going up to up to the toll booths, those roads are so bad going through the bridge pass, that's the worst one. And then you move over to the cash line to get over, and then you get back into your line.
I think Derek's gonna take care of that when they redo the toll bridge.
Well, those are speed bumps. Those are there by design.
Talking about
Non-planted
the
speed bumps.
No, this is the.
shoulder going off if you go off the bridge.
Yeah, and part of the problem we have with that is the road millages were specific, and I think I've explained this before, but they're specific to roads within Groseal Township.
Right.
Those roads are within Riverview, so we wouldn't be able to use like road millage funds to be able to support any road work on the opposite side of the bridge. So those funds would have to either come from the county or come from the toll bridge coffers, so it kind of pulls it out of your guys' realm of responsibility, unfortunately, and actually throws it over into the bridge commission's, area to consider.
Well, that's my thought, was because we do own the bridge, and I'm talking about right up to the toll thing.
Yeah, those are bad.
Come onto the island,
Yep.
it's real bad there.
Where does the bridge boundary and Riverview boundary at on the road, Derek? Is it?
Where Riverview and Groseal.
Yeah.
I don't know off the top of my head. The bridge itself pays personal property tax in the township of Groseal. So my assumption is where and I don't know this for sure, but with that being the case, the Groseal property would end or ownership would end where that bridge touches the ground on the other side of the river, would be
Okay.
my
So
understanding.
the toll booth's in Riverview.
Correct, yeah. That for sure, yeah. It's just, is half the bridge in Groseal and half in Riverview? No, I believe the bridge itself, just by taxation, is fully in Groseal until you hit that shoreline on the opposite side.
Well, I decided to bring that up, but, I do agree with, about the Park Lane Bridge, because it is a safety. It looks really bad. Aesthetically, it looks bad. It's all
Okay.
boarded up and everything. And it's just not safe, I don't think, so, I still think they should look at that. But that's it for me.
Okay, Kevin?
Let's see. I kind of approached this a little bit differently. You were looking for projects, and I may have taken a too global of a point of view. One of the continuing, do we do a lot of seeking grants for this, or are they we get a call and the grants are given to us? And I guess my question is to seek as many grants funding as we can. I don't know whether that would take a specialized person or group to do that, but that's one thought I had to.
For what, roads?
Well, just for anything that has to do with DPS. And I know that you guys got a big grant to do this sewage plant. I know we've gotten, I just don't know the question is there more we can do to squeeze the dollar out of somebody else besides taxpayers here? So that's just one thought. The other thought was, I have been doing, and I've mentioned this, is polymerized asphalt. My understanding from Derek is that when the county does work, they mix their own asphalt, but there are places, my understanding is that polymerized asphalt can last. What I've heard is 50% longer than regular asphalt, and in some cases, possibly more than that. And one of the other issues is, and I know this isn't particular to DPS, but the gravel roads are, there's more and more being written about the dust from gravel roads that seeps in, penetrates into homes. It's not good for seniors or young children whose lungs are developing, among other things. There's the possibility of heavy metals being aerosolized and getting into kids or adults, neither good for neither folks. I know that historically, or my understanding is historically, that the roads, the people that live on the roads have to petition or be willing to do something about this, but that might be we may not have, obviously, the funds to do it, but to encourage those roads to be made less dusty. Or
Okay.
did I get this right, or did I get it wrong?
Oh, you're fine. I
All
mean,
right.
as
So
far
just
as
those are,
just grants in general, and then problems with gravel roads, that's fine to point it out. Pulverized pavement, it's not a new topic, but I would tell you that all the roads are owned by the county, so
right.
the county has to approve anything that's the mix of any kind of pavement that we're gonna do. But that's just an easy answer, I guess, but I don't know anything about pulverized pavement.
Well, polymerized, my neighbor was in the asphalt business for years, and I think if the board was open to it, hearing what he has to say about the advantages. He's a asphalt chemist by training for years, so might be worth hearing from him. And if we don't use it, if I mentioned to Derek, if we don't use it on the roads because of the county, might be worthwhile looking at other places where we do use asphalt that the township pays for. So,
Okay, we can look at it. All
thank
right.
you.
You asked us to look at it, Rick. Is that it, Kevin?
That's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, everybody's covered. Derek, you have any ideas?
I will tell you that one of the things we've noticed as we've conducted the concrete projects over the past 2 years, I think 2-3 years, is that there's never enough money to go around to do all the concrete fixes that we would like to do. There's a lot of bad pavement out there. A lot of that bad pavement exists in neighborhoods. So personally, I like spending the money in those neighborhoods because you can really make a difference for the taxpayers right in front of their home. I'd like to see, if at all possible, for us to continue doing concrete work, these patch replacements, slab repairs, replacements in the neighborhoods. If we could find money in subsequent fiscal years to be able to do that through the roads account, I think it provides a lot of value. I would say also that the most recent bid process we went through, I think we had 8 different companies that bid on the concrete, and we got a really good price with the vendor that we're using right now. I think they were low bidder by a substantial amount of money, so we're getting really good value for the dollar that we're spending. We're carrying it a long distance as far as being able to get a lot of work done. We maintain a list in the office, of residents when they call in and say, hey, this section of road is in really bad shape. So we can be very responsive with those dollars to complaints that we receive. And there's no lack of areas to spend that money. A lot of these roads that were put in the mid-90s up through 2010, they have a lot of this ASR issues. I could probably put right now $400,000 into Grace Drive still, and we've been working on that for 5 years. Just with more than that, with just how bad that concrete is, and any of these neighborhoods that were put in during those time periods, which we had a lot of building going on in the 90s, all that concrete is just garbage, and you've got a $750,000 house, and you got gravel in front of your house, not because it's a gravel road, but just because the road is in such poor shape. So I think continuing our concrete project and just steadily picking away as we can afford, as much as we can afford to do, I think provides a lot of value, for the community. And I know this isn't your responsibility, but it is from an infrastructure standpoint. Obviously, we have a massive project going on with the toll bridge. That's, once again, not your responsibility. It's the Toll Bridge Commission and the Township Board, but nonetheless, it is infrastructure and critical infrastructure and a significant investment. I mean, we're going to have $40 million put into that structure over the next, 18 to 24 months. That's a major endeavor for the township, and that's going to be a big part of, improving, public infrastructure, for the community. So, that's any way that the DPS Commission, I think, can support anything that's happening down there. You talked about the roads in Riverview and the plaza, and emphasizing the importance of that, I think, is very important. So I don't think we want to lose sight, even though it's not DPS's responsibility per se, this commission's responsibility. I think we need to still keep our pulse on what's going on down there and do anything that we can support what's happening in that area. So I guess those are my 2 comments, with the exception of obviously keeping a focus on the sanitary sewer asset management plan, continuing to look to ways to fund that and support that work, and then also looking at continually working on our water asset management list and figuring out ways to fund that and move, that list along. These plans weren't developed to sit on a shelf. I'm very serious about, and I know you guys are too, about making sure that we put those plans into action and work on doing what we've laid out for ourselves as far as those capital improvements. So those would be my comments.
Oh, very good, thank you. Appreciate that. And that reminds me, Park Lane by Park Lane School, we got, that work's gonna be deferred till next year, or whenever. And I'm sure we'll have more work on Grace Drive as well, so, thank you. So with that, now it's time for your manager's report.
I'll try to make this very quick because I know we're getting late into the night. Ryan went over a lot of the stuff under his report, under the project update list, but I'll just kind of go over this briefly. Those things that he didn't cover. Contractor for the cleaning and televising, they are finishing up portions of phase 1 that they didn't complete this summer. They're hoping to have that wrapped up by the end of this month. I think there were like 65 different locations that they still had to finish, so they're bringing a second crew in to try to complete that by the end of this month. And then following that, they'd be working on phase 2, which they would hope to have that completed by the end of December. So that's what's going on with the TVing and cleaning. Manholes and sewer rehabilitation. The contractor has started work on the manhole structure rehabilitation. So from that video, if you remember, they go down inside, they spray the insides. That's what they're working on right now. And then the lining work will take place, or at least start during the winter time. The ACO work, all that's just about completed. We do still have to do the PPC. We met with Eagle regarding the PPC, and we'll more than likely probably be asking for an extension on the PPC work, which I don't think is going to be an issue with Eagle, being that the work associated with the ACO was completed almost a year ahead of schedule. So nothing new on the sanitary sewer asset management plan. The influent meter, which was up by the PPC, they have applied for a permit for that, and they will be applying for a permit for the effluent meter as well. That is Rains that will be doing that. The AMIED self-cleaning filtration system, that contract's been awarded, and the product or the materials are on order. Water asset management plan, that's about complete. Elba Island water main relocation. We've got the easements all filed with the county. Rains is preparing the design and the bidding documents. They'll be applying for an Eagle permit for that. And the reliability study is just about complete. Ferry Road rehab, that's about complete. We talked about the $200,000 payment earlier today that will be authorized. I believe it'll probably be in the next check run. Elba Island, that work is scheduled to start on September 11th, which I believe is this Thursday. What you see on the overhead is the notice that went out to the residents regarding that project. So they will be starting on Thursday. They will start with milling, and the whole project length will probably be like 3 to 4 days. So all the residents, like I said, have been issued this notice, and this also went out on Facebook today and on the township's website, just letting residents know what's happening with that. So Al's will be here starting that work this week. And as far as concrete goes, as I had mentioned earlier at earlier meetings, they started from the south to the north. They're out of the Manchester area. They were doing some work down on Parkway. That's been completed. They completed the work they were going to do on Macomb. They've completed the work that they were going to do on Grays and Cadillac Circle and Park Lane, north of Grays Drive. Now they've moved over into Island Estates off of Ferry, so they're in the process of doing that. From there, they'll move over to Hampton. There's large stretches of Hampton that they'll be working on, some areas over in Burning Bush, and then some areas off around Knutson in that area. There's some cul-de-sacs in there they're going to be working on. So I know that the report says 22% complete. They're probably closer to about 40% complete or so. So, and there'll be large sections of Hampton that are going to be replaced, so that's going to eat up a lot of money in that area. So,
And I want to comment, I think they're doing a good job And what I like about it is when they do a section, after it cures for a week, they remove all the barricades.
Yeah.
We've had trouble with contractors not removing the barricades. It's an inconvenience for people, but they've been doing a great job about that, so.
Thank you. I'll pass that along to them. So that concludes the report. I went over the Elba Drive and Meridian concrete work. For the residents that are listening, I did speak with the county today. I think we talked about those sections that they did on Meridian earlier in the meeting. My understanding is that they are going to be milling all of the northbound lane. Let me just double check and make sure this is correct. They'll be milling and paving the northbound lane starting tomorrow for the next 3 days. So the southbound lane will be the lane that is open for people to transit Meridian Road. And that'll be the case for the next 3 days. So we'll get that word out to the public tomorrow. We'll do a push, but you're going to want to plan for southbound traffic only. So that's the game plan for the next 3 days with Meridian. My understanding is they're on track and on schedule to be completed by next Monday. That's the latest on Meridian. We talked about the concrete and Elba Drive.
Completed with the whole project or just the northbound?
No, the whole project by hopefully on Monday.
They're gonna work Saturday and Sunday?
I believe they're working Saturday. I don't know if they're working on Sunday. But I'm assuming Saturday and Monday would be the southbound lane where they'd mill and pave.
Okay,
So.
that's great.
Water loss report was included in the packet. 23.988% is what the report shows. And then there is an item on the agenda regarding the water asset management funding. I had provided some information to you at the last meeting. I also provided you some larger copies of information at your seat tonight. I know that the asset management schedule that was in the packet was kind of small to read, so I printed you a larger copy. In addition to that, I also provided you some amortization schedules based upon some different assumptions that our financial advisor provided. I asked them to work up some different scenarios. What this takes into consideration is the first 5 years of the asset management plan. So within this large chart that you have, obviously the top 5 are our highest priorities and take us through like 2023 or 2031, 2030 or 2031, and includes Meridian Road from Owen Street to Paulina, Byramar Lane, Island Drive, Crescent, Haley Crescent Drive, and South Point. And these are, for the most part, your most critical sections of water main that the asset management plan identified. The total cost for these projects, based upon the engineer's estimate, is right around, I think, about $8 to $8.5 million. And then when you add engineering in, you're right around $10 million in expense. So when I reviewed this with a financial advisor, bonding agent, I had them look at a $10 million loan bond, including cost at various different amortization lengths and interest rates and different financing options. And then the estimated annual payments and interest for those different loan assumptions. So, for example, on a capital improvement bond at 20 years, $10 million, you're looking at $782,000 per year. Obviously, it's reduced the longer you take those bonds out for. So 702 on a 25-year and 670 on a 30-year. If you go to a revenue bond, which is a different type of bond that relies solely on the revenue from the water account, on a 20-year it's 805, on a 25-year it's 726, and on a 30-year bond it's 694. So that is just something for you to review and to chew on. In addition to that information, I believe there's also information in your packet about the current budget capacity based upon bonds dropping off and the funds that are available as far as payment capacity. You'll see there is some significant differences in the cost associated with this $10 million bond, the payments associated with that, and then the capacity to cover that cost based upon bonds that are dropping off over the next 5 years or so. So I think just for rough estimates, we have probably close to about $400,000 in availability based upon those bonds dropping off, and you're looking at the most conservative estimates, $670,000 annually in expense, so you're short by about $270,000. So that's just something to review. We do have some, challenges as it relates to coming up with those monies to fund what we feel to be probably the highest priorities. Now, I think what we would like to probably do is come back to the commission, have you guys look at this information, kind of digest it, and then myself, the chairman, and John, our DPS lead, just review these priorities again, review the different options, and then come back and have a conversation with you guys when John can be here to discuss some of these priority projects. But I'd like to continue the conversation just so that it doesn't get lost, and we understand or get to an understanding of what we might want to do with this. So.
Okay, that's a good summary, and I just want to add to this. There's a lot of information being thrown out here. And so what I think we need to do is, as Derek said, between himself and me and John, we're going to meet to look at each one of these projects, each one of these water main, whether it's a replacement or upgrade or whatever, and come back to you, and part of our meeting will be a study session where we go through each one of them and explain the why and wherefore, what are the reasons. Age of pipe, whatever it might be, water main breaks, whatever it might be, and then get you familiar with those projects. These are the priorities from the study that was done, and then get into the financing issues, okay? And that won't be done in one meeting. I see it would probably take us a couple of meetings if we're lucky. Maybe by November, we'd have some idea where we want to go. Maybe by January, February, okay? But at least come up with a plan to say, here's what we're going to do, whether it's we start in 2026, what we can bite off. I know our concern has always been to keep the water rate as low as possible, but if these capital projects are necessary, we might have to take a look at that, and maybe we will, maybe we won't have to have a small rate increase that just goes for these capital, but maybe we won't do that. Maybe we'll do something less, so.
I had a question on I know how much of this is, has to be followed, the plan has to be followed to meet the state and feds.
I mean, I think that the expectation is that you work on it. I think so long as there's progress to address these things, I think that case can be made to Eagle that you're working on it. So if the question is, do you have to follow the plan verbatim? No, I don't think that you do. I think you need to justify why if you don't, and demonstrate to Eagle that you're making progress to address these issues. One of the reasons I kind of suggested the top 5 projects is because although the plan, says you should do these and we'd like to follow a plan, I think that those projects are of high importance because we do experience issues, with those areas that can lead to water loss, which can lead to maintenance expenditures, expenses with water main breaks. I mean, a water main break alone is anywhere from $5,000 to $8,000 to do one. So, that doesn't take too long if you've got a lot of water main breaks to eat up, a fair amount of cash. And I'll be honest with you, we've done a great job, reducing. I think when I came here 5 years ago, our budget for water main breaks was $180,000 a year. Now we're closer down to $100,000 a year, just because of the work that we've done on water mains, to minimize the amount of breaks that we have. So I guess my point is, it's a plan, but it also is rooted in need, and it's justifiable, the work that needs to be done, you know, to save expense in certain areas too.
And reliability,
Absolutely, yeah.
Is there,
not only drinking water, but fire flow.
are we, these mandated, these are mandated by the state, right?
The asset management plans are mandated by the state, yes.
When they mandate this, are they offering any money help to townships and cities and?
Not much, no. Unless you're a disadvantaged community, a lot of times there isn't state funding that's available. The state does provide some low-interest loans for some of this stuff, but those are often competitive and go, once again, to maybe more disadvantaged communities. In addition, there's a significant amount of costs associated with applying for those, but those are things that we could definitely look into to see if it made sense. Based on, you know, once we narrow down what exactly we want to do, try to achieve the most value.
Derek, I recall, and I can't remember whether it was when Maria was here presenting stuff to us or whatever, we had a map that basically showed the expected reliability of the various sections of our system. And some were critically, here.
Yeah.
Is this chart reflecting that?
Yes, it correlates
Okay.
with that map,
Okay.
yeah. So those
The critic-
areas in
the
red,
criticality.
You're gonna get this back. We're
Yeah.
gonna put it as part of the package.
we'll get you
Okay.
additional copies of that in the next meeting, but
All
yeah,
right.
those
Great. That-
priority items
I
are your
figured
red.
it was, but I wasn't sure.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, is that enough for that
I
discussion?
think so, yeah. That concludes my report.
Okay, with that, the chairman's report, the only thing I can report on tonight is this question of producing a video at the wastewater treatment plant as opposed to holding an open house. I've spoken with Derek about it briefly, and we're gonna start working on finding firms that could come in and try to find at least 3 of them to give us a quote. We have to figure that out yet, but try to discover some firms that can do this for us, and we're gonna have to develop how we're gonna do this, so that may take a few months, but I just wanted to report that we just started to work on it, so, okay?
Good.
That's one thing. I don't have anything else to report tonight, except I have a question. I appreciate this letter that went out to the residents of Elba. It's a very good letter. And Derek, you provided a letter when we sat down tonight over Colony Park, Colony Water, complaints about their water bills. You just want to briefly comment on it?
Sure, I just wanted to make you aware of correspondence we received and then the response that we provided. The Colony Condo HOA didn't copy the DPS commission, they copied the board, so the board has received this. I just wanted you to be aware of, obviously their concerns and how those were responded to, in case it comes across, your desk at any point in time. So, we do often have condo associations that take issue with, their water bills. Generally in these condo, developments, you have like master meters on various buildings, and we bill, off those master meters, which often lends itself to questions about, are they accurate, because they don't know how much each unit is actually consuming water. And oftentimes when water is built into the condo complex, homeowner association fees, obviously the consumption habits are a bit different than if, you're paying, for your water on a variable bill per month. So, we get these a lot of times, especially when there's changes in condo, management or, condo board, leadership, until they get educated about how exactly those things work and whatnot. And then, it makes, I think, more sense to them. So, I just wanted you to be aware of that correspondence, so.
Thank you for that. Okay, commissioners' reports. We'll start this with Kevin. Any other comments tonight?
No, thank you.
Okay, Linda?
I was going down Meridian at 8:30 this morning, and they did a great job navigating traffic and making sure everything went smoothly. And there were men everywhere, everybody with the vest on, with, slow down, stop, all those signs. They did a great job. So I had no problem going down Meridian to the Free Bridge this morning. So it was a good day.
Well, we've been after them. I know Derek has been for years to get Meridian done. I know it's a little bit of an inconvenience for our residents right now, especially when they're bringing one asphalt truck over at a time and they stop all other traffic on the bridge. But if they're going to get it done in a 2-week period of time,
That's amazing.
it's going to be a great asset. We're going to probably end up thanking Wayne County for getting it done that quickly. And I want to just mention, I think that between John and Joe Porcerelli, Derek, maybe prior supervisor as well, Jim Budney, creating a good relationship with the county. All I do up here is sort of complain, but they're the ones that are in the field working with them, and I credit them for getting the county to respond. If you remember at our last meeting, we were going to invite somebody in to our next meeting to deal with us
Yeah.
because we were angry about not getting a response, but now they're doing it. So couldn't ask for anything better than that. So, all right, Phil?
Just one comment. We often think of the high costs of our services here on the island, and I have a little cottage over in western New York, and we get water and sewer bills over there, and our billing here, our cost here per 1,000 gallons of water and sewage is almost 60% lower than what I pay for the same amount over in western New York. And we have absolutely no service over there to take care of any issues, breakages and stuff like that. Anything else that gets done to the system, we get billed for that on top of what we already pay. So comparatively, we have a real bargain here on Grosse Ile for our utilities of water and sewage.
I appreciate that. Anything else, Phil?
No, nothing else.
Great.
Thank you.
No.
Thank you. Lance?
One last comment about the Park Lane Bridge. Sorry, Ray. Wayne County's never going to fix that. If it is, it's going to be years and years. But a good point that Phil brought up and what Lenny said about the fire hydrant. Wouldn't be a bad idea to put a fire hydrant on the north side of the bridge.
That's a good thought.
That's your project. I'm going to put that down on that list.
Then we know they'll never fix the bridge.
Right.
That's true.
So, but
They
for a
probably
safety
won't
issue,
anyway.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
if there's, no fire hydrant within, so many hundreds of feet, it doesn't take much to put fire hydrants in when the water main's right there.
Good point. Is that it?
Is it?
Thank you. With that, I'll entertain a motion. There's nothing else, right, Derek?
No.
Entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion to adjourn the meeting at 9:09 PM.
And is there support?
Support.
All in favor? Aye. Meeting's adjourned. Thank you.